How to create a person. If you are already an adult, as long as it is legal and compliant, creating people is not a problem. But if you don't have the energy and spirit and want to learn from NU to create people alone, is it still possible? In terms of formula, okay? After all, humans are made by stars. The hydrogen atoms in your body are the legacy of the first 3 minutes of the Big Bang, and the iron in your blood was forged in the death of a supernova. You have 71 billion atoms who originally went their separate ways, but now they have condensed into you by some chance. So creating a person is rearranging the matter in the universe. What are the key points of this universe recipe? Material science. Don't worry about the soul for now. The raw materials are very simple. Oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, plus a little calcium, phosphorus, and a small amount of elements. It's like stir-frying. There aren't many ingredients needed, but the ratio and heat determine whether it can become a Michelin star. People are the same. It is the combination that determines who you are, not just a pile of mud. Firstly, the water. It is said that women are made of water, but this is not accurate. In fact, men have more water, and as long as it is life, water accounts for the majority. Because the oxygen in water is the flame of life, providing you with respiration and metabolism. You need to consume nearly 750 grams of oxygen in 24 hours, which can be purchased directly from a pure oxygen tank for 16 yuan. Although hydrogen in water is light, it is ubiquitous, with a quantity exceeding half of the total number of atoms in the human body. All kinds of organic molecules in the body rely on it to connect, which costs 160 yuan to gather. Next, you need to construct the brick carbon of the life building. You might say, I've already made my own people. Why not choose carbon instead of some more cool silicon-based humans? This is because carbon has strong social connections. It can establish strong bonds with multiple elements, and can also form groups with itself to create strange organic macromolecules like building blocks. But turtles are too fragile and not agile enough. When they come into contact with oxygen, they turn into sand. Isn't that life form petrified while still alive? However, charcoal is not cheap. It will probably cost you 430,000 yuan. In order to form proteins and genes with charcoal, you also need some eggs, which is cheap at only 2.5 yuan. But you can't even send protein instructions with coal. Creating humans is not about creating slime. We also need to create a skeleton that can hold this body. At this point, you need calcium and phosphorus from stones. Calcium can help you stand up, assemble DNA molecules, and even play the main role in the cell energy currency APP. Although they are small in quantity, they will cost you 460,000 yuan. Don't think it's expensive. They are all hardcore pillars. Chemistry books like Oxygen, Carbon, Hydrogen, Carbon, Calcium, and Rainforest are the main ingredients for humans, accounting for 99% of your weight. But don't worry, there are also small ingredients. They're just small in quantity and cheap. The potassium and sodium in your tears are your batteries, controlling nerve discharge, while chlorine forms stomach acid, as well as sulfur, magnesium, zinc, copper, and more. Although the name sounds like a vitamin advertisement, but not. Without these 24 basic elements, there is no normal functioning of life. You can see the materials used to create humans everywhere on Earth, such as Ibatu. With some water and a little air, the types of elements come to life, and the prices are also very reasonable. You can easily find all the pure elements for around 1 million yuan. But shrimp skewers definitely won't work. You have to combine them into organic molecules in an appropriate way. It's not difficult, it just takes a little time. Back then, the Earth cooked its own primitive soup. In high school, we all observed that simply mixing methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water together and adding a little lightning could boil inorganic substances into amino acids, forming life elements. Larger deep-sea hot springs are like constant temperature pots. which can continuously generate organic small molecules using temperature differences and chemical gradients. With these basic bricks, the next step is to assemble proteins. And large molecules such as DNA must be assembled from these small molecules. For example, the working protein of life is a three-dimensional structure that connects amino acids end-to-end through peptide bonds and folds successfully. It may appear complex, but it is still necessary to patiently and intermittently cook together. High temperatures can cause amino acids to form peptides similar to proteins, but don't be complacent. In the mixed soup of primitive Earth, there are various types of amino acids, but life only uses 20 standard bonds to construct proteins. Why could it be that proteins in cells have to do everyone's job, catalyze reactions, transmit information through enzymes, kill bacteria, and detoxify through hormones, and act as antibodies? All the strength left behind is deadly, right? The next step is to create a blueprint for life to self-replicate and inherit, which is the structure of DNA and RNA DNA. As we all know, DNA is a double helix chain that uses 4 letters to firmly remember genetic information and then passes it down from generation to generation. While RNA is usually a single strand, more like a copy and executor of DNA information. If a cell is compared to a factory, then DNA is drawings and manuals. RNA is the messenger and worker that transmits instructions. But white matter is a machine device built according to instructions, which is the famous central dogma. The question is, did the chicken or the egg come first between DNA and protein? You see, proteins require instructions from DNA to synthesize, and DNA replication relies on proteases to help, which seems to be a dead loop. The speculation in modern science is called the RNA world hypothesis. First, certain RNAs acquired the ability to self-replicate by chance, and then proteins gradually joined in to assist various reactions. Finally, DNA appeared more stable and less prone to errors. RNA handed over the genetic baton to DNA, who stepped back and helped transmit instructions, leaving only proteins to do dirty and tiring work. It seems that everything is ready, but don't forget, you can't wait for the coincidence of billions of years in the pot. But now we have indeed stepped into the realm of God with one foot. In 2010, biologist Venter designed it in a computer. Half of the genes were inserted into empty cells and allowed to self-reproduce, which indeed created artificial cells. Finally, they also made a slimming board by cutting out unnecessary genes from their DNA, creating a minimalist bacterium with only 473 genes. But they found that no matter how much reduction is made, there are always 30% of genes that are useless, but it's not possible without them. In our human body, the proportion of similar amino acids is as high as 98%. You see, even if the formula is completed, there are still secrets in life that we cannot understand, let alone synthetic biology that is still at the microbial level. If you really want to assemble into a human body, you have to consider how to create different tissues and organs to work together. Not to mention how to shape consciousness in the nervous system. After all, how many times have you and I experienced mass extinctions and great creations? How could those amino acids that were playing around in the primitive soup have thought that in the collision of time, they would eventually evolve into you who can think and dream? At the end of the day, this is not only a coincidence, but also a miracle. The secret buried by heaven in the ashes of stars will continue to arouse our curiosity. After all, the stars can become you and me, and the starry sky may not have the next miracle.